We knew right away that this adoption was going to involve high elements of openness. We knew that would be best for him and us, and ultimately his family.
Right, so when you're adopting from foster care, these aren't parents who are chose to give their child up for adoption. They weren't thinking, okay, this is the choice that I want to make for them. Chances are they spent the past few years fighting to keep their child. And so it's definitely reasonable to be nervous about openness. Those beginning stages are going to be filled with emotion. They're going to be really tense. But if you can push through that and kind of recognize that pain in that season, you kind of come to this peaceful place. In adoption communities, the word openness is pretty loosely used, right? And so openness for some families can mean emails back and forth. They can mean one visit a month. It can mean one visit a year. And so openness is this big contingent. And so sometimes people hear the word openness and it's kind of scary because they jump to the end, and every parent wants to connect with their kid. And so if you give the parent a chance and you can start with steps that you feel comfortable with, you'll find that they try so hard. And so Quintino and I will have conversations lots where we can recognize how very hard his parents try when they meet with him and when we have these visits.
Our phone is actually pretty open to Quintino's family members, but it's not just the phone. Because Quintino's family is local here, we're able to set up visits between his mom and his dad and his grandma. Certainly not only around holidays. Sometimes they can be more spur of the moment, maybe just for even 10, 20 minutes. And that just go a really long way for both of his parents and for him in keeping that connection strong.
We do have boundaries in there, and we make sure that everything makes sense for Quintino and makes sense for us. And sometimes we probably have loosened those boundaries a little bit, and then you kind of learn from your mistakes and you can always kind of reset them. And so we try not to think of it as this big stressful thing, and we try to remember we're all family, and if my mom were to say oh, can we meet tomorrow, and I could, then I would. And so if Quintino's other mom says, can we meet tomorrow, and we can, then we will. And if we can't, then we just say that.
When I was around Quintino's age, my dad used to joke with me, and he'd say, Daniel, you're my favorite son. And the reason it's funny is because I was his only son. And I think a lot of dads did this, and I found it funny. And so, of course, once Quintino was my son, I told him one day we were playing chess. I told him, Quintino, you're my favorite son. And to which he responded very quickly, you're one of my favorite dads. And as he said it, it caught me off guard really quickly. But I was so happy that he was able to be so thankful for having two dads. And that's ultimately what I wanted for him. Part of our plan right from the moment that we started even talking about being able to adopt Quintino, that we would want it to be open.
It might not feel comfortable and there might feel like there's some hostility, but if you push through it, it usually becomes this beautiful thing.
Ultimately, it's just worth it as you give that parent a chance to continue to connect with their child. I think a child will always thank you for that later.